All right, morning everybody. Welcome back to our day 9 of learning with me and our scratch session. So today, as you can read on the title, we're going to be doing Fruit Ninja. And I don't know if you guys are very aware of the game. It was played once upon a time ago, it was very popular, but I'll just share a tab to give you guys a quick refresh of what that game was like. So you guys remember this was really popular at a time. Um, Basically, there's a bunch of fruits that are falling in the air. You have to swipe over them to cut them, and if you got them, you got more points, right? You get points, and if you didn't, if you missed some of them, you would get like negative points basically. And then if you had 3 negative points, you're out of the game. But on top of that, you also had a timer. And this person was the main character, but mainly it was you playing with your own like stylus or finger right directly onto your iPad or tablet. So we're going to recreate that game in Scratch, but obviously a little bit more simplified because that way we can. Wait, I think I'm on the. Oops, wrong tab. There we go. Okay, so that way we can kind of learn as we go. So a feature that we have used, I think, a little bit before, but also we're going to use it a lot more, is the video sensor feature. So what the video sensor feature in Scratch allows you to do is that actually it senses your movement in the screen. So when you're moving your hands and your face and anything, it kind of sees like the changes in the pixels and it recognizes that as a movement. So it's like movement censored. And it basically you're able to compare those movements to a numerical value. And it'll make more sense once we actually get to it because um, saying it out loud kind of just written doesn't really make sense. So when you actually see it in the code, it makes more sense. And then basically you can also change the transparency. So you know how things can be super duper bold and clear, but also you can dilute them a little bit. You can make it transparent. Um, so there's that ability on the video sensor feature. There's the ability to compare it to see if someone actually moved. But all these things will make more sense next when we create it. So here's a little bit of the game breakdown. Basically, what are our sprites going to be? Our sprites are going to be a bunch of fruit. So your fruit could be whatever you want. The most popular in the actual game was watermelon, oranges, cantaloupe. So you can really choose whatever you want. But remember, for us, for the sake of simplicity, we might just do one or two because in the Scratch library, there's an orange, and I think there's a cherry. So anyhow, there are different fruits. You can create them yourself. You can import from them somewhere. You can use them from the Scratch library. There are also costumes that are involved. So if you want to get really detailed, this step is going to take it a little bit further and make our game kind of interesting. So you know how you have the full fruit, the full orange, that's going to pop up on the screen, and then once you slice it, once you do the movement, you want to be able to see it in half. You want to see the half to feature. Now, obviously, it's not going to be super duper proportionate, like if it's exactly in half or not, you won't be able to tell the difference. It's just going to be a cookie cutter half orange in one of its costumes. So you have a full orange and a half orange, um, or a full orange in the cut fruit, and you just have to show that it's cut so that when we're playing the game, it actually mimics the real Fruit Ninja game. And yes, there are variables, obviously, again. So we have the timer and the score. The timer is going to count down, and then the score is going to be either increasing depending on us hitting the fruits or decreasing depending on how many fruits we miss. So that is totally up to you guys, or you could do both. But we'll try to add those as well. Don't. C'est la vie. Okay, let's start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and then we'll get started. So just going to try signing in, and then I'll share screen. All right, so let me share screen, and then we will move forward. This one? Nope, not this one. It's this one. Perfect. So this is my Scratch page. All right, so yours is going to say your name at the top. Then you're going to have these buttons. So we're going to click on Create right in the corner here, and we're going to come to our very familiar console page. Just a reminder that all the blocks are over here, all the codes are over here for motion, looks, sounds, events. You're able to drag them into your process area, and then they will output on the screen right here where the cat is. So remember also that if you actually linked it with an email address, then you'll be able to um, give it a name and share it. It'll have an orange, bright orange share button. But if you do not, then that will not appear for you. So Fruit Ninja doesn't really have a cat in the game, so we can get rid of that by clicking this trash can button down here. Nope. What we do want, however, is a bunch of fruit setup. So why don't we go start and pick some fruit? So all our fruits are going to be sprites. We're going to click choose a sprite, and we're going to click a magnifying glass. And the cool thing about this game is that we can create the whole code for one sprite and then just copy paste it for all the other sprites. So we can make it for one fruit and then copy it for all the other fruit. So as you can see, they have apples and bananas, and I believe they also have orange somewhere. Let's go to the food section. Apple, banana, they got orange, orange too, so they have like the cut version of orange, which makes it look cooler. And they have watermelons. They have a good variety. It mimics the Fruit Ninja game. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick one of these to start. I'm going to click the watermelon. And then once we've finished our code in it, we can just copy paste all that code into all the other sprites, which is like makes our life so much more easier. So now that we have our watermelon, we're going to click on the costume button here, and we're going to see that when I slice the watermelon, what should happen? I don't want to see, perfectly cut pieces. I want to see the half, like that cut. And if you want to make it even more, um, fun, you can make it tilted on an angle a little bit, so that when people are swiping, it actually looks like a swiped cut rather than a perfect half. Right? And maybe we'll just do Control C, Control V, and click on Flip Horizontal. And do that. So now it'll actually look like it's split in half. I'm just going to select the whole watermelon, tilt it a little, and place it. Yeah, so whatever you think makes sense, but just make sure that you drag your cursor from one corner and select the whole thing once you're done, and make sure you have it locked in the middle, that the compass and the little plus sign are attached. So there's a plus sign here. I'm going to attach it, unlock it into this little compass symbol. That way it'll actually be in the middle of the screen and it'll be oriented properly. Okay, so that's a really important step. Do not forget that, because a lot of times people don't see it and it makes it look like their code didn't work when in fact it did. So, first things first, what's the most important piece of code that we always, always, always use in Scratch? Yep, it's when green flag clicked. I bet you guessed it. So we're going to go to events and we're going to grab when green flag clicked. Now, in the very start of our game, we actually want to make sure that our fruits are all starting super way up high. So we're going to go and we're going to go into the motion and we're going to actually place our watermelon up here. Now this place is like the sky in our game. It's at 156 in terms of the y value and negative 2x. Now the x value, we actually kind of want to make it to generate randomly, and the y value, we want it to be above 150 or 180. So we have to make sure we specify that in our code. We look at all our blocks here. If we said go to random position, then it's going to start there. And the game usually doesn't start by having it down there. It usually starts by having it up in the sky and then falling down. Because sometimes this might start in places I don't want it to start, like at the very, very bottom. But I don't know, some people might actually like that. I think I'll keep it for now and then change it. Or no, actually, we'll use this later on. Let's start by keeping it simple. So we want it to go to x negative 75, y 75. Nope, we want it to go even higher. We want it to go in the hundreds for the y value. So we'll just reposition this to y167. Then when we grab our x block here, go to x14, y167. And we're going to place that there. Next, we want to, again, stimulate the effects of gravity. And we've done this, I believe, twice already. We did it in our Touch the Red game. We did it in our Donkey Kong game. We want to mimic the effects of gravity. So basically, we're going to put a forever loop from control, which is the fifth last circle. And we're going to grab a change y by negative 5 block. So change y by 10 is down there in your motions. And what this is going to do is it's going to create the effect of gravity by making it look like it's constantly falling, because gravity makes things fall. See? And I like the pace that it's falling at. If you want it to fall faster, you can make it negative 10. Slower, you can make it negative 3. Totally up to you. Now I'm going to replace my watermelon top. Oh, I guess at this point it doesn't matter. Now, once my fruit reaches the bottom, right? So watch the y value as it goes down. Negative 192. Once it reaches the bottom, I kind of want it to come back to the top of the page so that we can keep playing the game. So at that point, I'm gonna specify what the bottom actually is. So for different fruits, you can make it different, but I think we're gonna keep it consistent. What I mean by the bottom is that once it hits a certain y value, a certain lower area, it should probably go back to the top. So this could be where this is right now. It could be a little up here. It could be a little down there. But whatever that point is, I want it to come back. So click on Control. Control is an orange colored circle here. And on our fourth block, we have an if block. And if has a little hexa trapezoidal shape. So we're going to go into operators and we're going to numerically compare the y value of the watermelon with the certain y value that we want it to be at. So we're going to grab you're going to notice there's an x is greater than symbol and there's an x is less than symbol. So we want to grab the x is less than symbol. The less than symbol is the second one, and this is very crucial that you get the right alligator mouth, which looks like this. It's the smaller one. It means less than. And what we're going to do is we're going to say, I'm going to change this to negative 1. So right now we're at 162. We can keep it like that, negative 162. You can make it negative 180, which would make it a little bit lower. Now let's go to motion. And remember, we're comparing the y value, so we're going to grab the y position variable. So that's the second last block in your motion section. So if the y position is less than negative 162, basically where you are right now, go back to the top, go back to a random position, and replay the game. So to go back to the top, we're going to say set y to, and we're going to set y to anywhere basically above. So it was 167, we can set it to 167 again. Set y to 167 and go to a random position. And as I said before, we were going to use it. We are now using it. Let's see how this works. Goes down, touchdown, and then it came back in a random spot, right? Isn't that so cool? So now the very first move, people are going to know once they read the code. But when it's random, by the time that this watermelon thing repeats itself, it's going to go to different spots. Beautiful. Our next thing we want to do, though, is we want to figure out the video motion part, because I talked about it, but we haven't done it yet. So let's start. What you're going to do is you're going to go down here into this little blue code thing with the plus sign, and you're going to click on it. It says add extension. So this is the extension button, and we've seen it before as well. It's got a bunch of extensions from music and pen to video sensing and text to speech. Video sensing, that's what we're going to use. But it also has translations, Makey, Microbit, Lego Mindstorm, and some of this cool stuff. So translate you can use without any material. You can use the first row without any special material. For Makey, you do need the Makey kit. And for a microbit, you can use the virtual microbit actually. And Lego Mindstorm are just like robots. Usually schools have them, so you guys could use those as well. So what we're going to use is video sensing. Sense motion with the camera. That's exactly what to do. So this game works. Oh, can you guys see me and me? Okay. Yeah, so this game works on the basis of your laptop actually having a camera and that you allow the computer or Scratch to use the camera. So usually people have like a lock button here, and it'll talk about camera and cookies and certificate and microphone. You just have to make sure your camera is clicked on allow. Otherwise, this game will not work for you, but you can still create it and it'll still look cool and you can send it to other people that can play it, you know? So in our video motion, so video sensing is the block that's really down there, and we have 4 uh, blocks. We have one video motion greater than 10. So remember I told you we could numerically compare? This is one of those moments. Then we have a little elliptical that says video motion on sprite. Then we have turn video on, which has, the off option. And you can do set video transparency to 50. Remember I also mentioned that. So these are the 4 main video sensing blocks. And we can manipulate them and create really cool effects. So when we're actually swiping the fruit, that means that my motion is happening on the fruit, which is why video motion on sprite is pretty important. You can have it on the stage, but we want it on the sprite. So we're going to grab video motion on sprite. Oh, no, not there. And we're just going to place it on the side here. All right? And we're going to see that if there is a video motion happening on the sprite, meaning this is a motion. Motion is anything moving, right? So my finger is moving. If it moves on the sprite, then something should happen. That means the fruit should split, right? So let's do that. So we're going to grab another if statement. We're going to go to control, and we're going to scroll down to the 4th loop. And, this elliptical, it's not going to fit in this hexagon. We got to make it fit in the hexagon, so we need a hexagon. Also, side point, I'm not entirely sure this is a hexagon because it doesn't look like it has equal sides, but side point. Anyhow, so we'll go to operators, which is a green circle. And yeah, we're going to compare it to either greater than, less than, or equal to 50. If you make something equal to something, then it has to be very specific, so that's not going to give us a big range. But if you make it greater than 50, I like that option. This is going to help us have a range and also make sure the person's moving to a degree of 50, whatever that means, right? So when that happens, we need to, hold on. Mhm. We need to switch the costume of our fruit. There's a lot of things that I can do, right? So in my original game, I made the sound change, I made the costume change, and I made the fruit relocate itself midway, right? So those are all things we're going to make it do. So let's go first and foremost to costumes. So we're going to go to looks. It's the purple one, it's the second circle. And you're going to scroll down to switch costume to watermelon B. All right, so let's test it. And it's split. Awesome, but it's not unsplitting, so you have to work on that. So switch costume to watermelon B. Now I also want to hear sound happening. So we're going to click on sound. This is the sound bite, and I don't really want bite. Something more like a ching, like something that makes it sound like a swipe cut. So let's go to sounds here. Sounds is your third one. We haven't really explored it too much, but we're going to click on choose a sound. And I don't know if you can hear them as well, but you can hear them on your end and figure out what you want. Okay, so there's a bunch of notes, and then there's it's really loud in my ears. Let's see. Nope. Oh, okay. I think high whoosh. If you guys want to have the same one, if you like the sound of it, is the closest we're gonna get. But again, we can, manipulate the sound here. So let's listen to it. So it sounds like we're swiping in air. We want to make it sound more like we're swiping through something. So how can we do that? Well, when you're swiping through something, maybe the sound is faster, or maybe it's slower, or maybe it's more high pitched. So let's see if we can change some things. Nope. This is just me playing around with it. I tried to make it faster, didn't like that. I'm gonna make it slower, and I think I like that a lot more. So just made it 2 clicks slower. And then I tried robot. Not a fan of that right now. I think this is okay. Still have to do. So we have a high whoosh sound for our watermelon. So now, we're in this part again, remember? If we swipe on the thing, the costume changes, and we can have in looks, which is this one, you can switch the costume to watermelon B, which we did. And we're going to go to sound, and we're going to start sound high whoosh. If you're going to do play sound until done, it's going to play the entire note, and then it's going to go to the next part of your code. But I like it when it's doing real motion and playing the sound. So it's going to start sound high whoosh. Yeah, see? It makes it sound really cool. Okay. The next part is that we want to work on making sure that the fruit goes back to the top, just like how we did here. So we're basically going to recopy those codes. So we're going to go to motion, and we're going to scroll down and find a go to random position here, fourth block. And we're going to scroll down and we're going to grab set y to value, but instead of 87, we can put 187. Let's see. Oh, oops. Sorry. These two pieces have to be inside our last if statement. Now it starts here. Aha. Okay, this game gets really fun. So I think 187 is too high. We'll make it 167 again, just like this one. Now at this point, another very important, crucial thing should be happening, and that is that the person should be gaining points, right? Essentially. So how can we make that happen? Well, we didn't really make a variable yet, so we should probably start by that. So at this point, we're going to click on variables, which is like an orange circle. We're going to click on make a variable. And we're going to search up, sorry, not search up. We're just going to call our variable score for all sprites. Make sure it's for all sprites, by the way, and click OK. In the very beginning of our code, we want score to be 0. Perfect. So we're going to set not my variable, but score to 0. And we're going to put that right under our blue code, right above the forever loop, all right? We don't want it to forever be 0. That would just be really sad. When the person cuts the fruit and the fruit changes costumes, makes a different sound, goes to random position, that's when we want our variable to change. So we're going to change not my variable, but score by 1. And we're going to do that probably right there. And it's going to increase our point. So that was a really quick addition, right, guys? Adding variables is not that hard. So it's good that we were able to just add it quickly here. Now, as soon as the fruit changes costume, makes a sound, changes our score value, right when it goes to the random position, I actually want it to not be this cut fruit anymore. I want it to be a whole fruit again. So I'm going to click on looks, and I'm just going to click on next costume. Be aware, this is not next backdrop, this is next costume, right, with a C. So we're just going to drag next costume, put that under our Y value, and let's see. Okay, now it's a full fruit. Cut it. Oh, our full fruit is not cutting anymore. Maybe it's cutting so fast that we can't see it. So what we can do is we can put a little bit of a tiny little delay so we can see it. So click on Control, which is like the orange block. Click on wait 1 second, and we're going to put it right under there, right under change score by 1, right? Because we want our sound to happen and then the wait command. So make sure the sound happens. Now, a whole second is really, really, really long if you think about it. So we'll make it like 0.3 seconds. All right, let's try the game again. Green flag clicked. Okay. Yeah. Beginning, that delay was a little more obvious, but then I got used to it. And now it's better. Okay, awesome. So perfect. So this is a really beautiful rainbow here of all the code that we used just for showing the effects of motion happening on a piece of code. Now, what happens if you guys think we should have negative points as well, like the real game, or should we have whatever our score is subtracted? So there's like two things you can do, right? You can either subtract your own score. You're like, okay, we're at 9, but when you miss the fruit, then it should be at 8, right? Just minus it 1. Or we can have like another variable here that's like missed points. And then once that reaches 3, game is over. We can do that because that is like what the original game was like. So, and we also know how to make variables, so it's super easy. So let's click on variables, click on make a variable, and we're going to call these missed for all sprites. Okie dokie. And I'm going to move missed to like this part. And I'm going to go to set missed to 0, and I'm going to put that right under set score to 0. Right, so I just have set missed to 0 right under set score to 0 at the very top. And we're going to scroll down, and we're actually going to talk about missed, because once missed is equal to 3, that means the game is done. You're out of the game. So let's grab another if statement in control. So it's the fourth one, remember? And remember, your if statements need to be under each other, right? Not inside each other. So make sure they're under each other so that your code actually works. So let's see. If And then a couple different ways we could do this. So let's grab an operator. It says less than 50. Okay, a less than operator. So that's your 4, 5, 6, 7th operator, okay? And we can compare the y value to that, but like if we say that the sprite, the orange, is at y negative 160, and at that point you should change the score. It'll still be. No, I think it'll work. Okay, perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on motion, and we're going to scroll down, and we're going to grab the y position variable. If the y value is at negative, make sure you put a negative, 150. Actually, I'll make that 160. Negative 160. Then something to happen. So I was a little hesitant about this, right? You saw, because what if I cut the fruit and then it's at negative 160? But I forgot. Remember that we actually programmed it to go to the top right from there, so it's not gonna go down. So we don't have any problems there. Perfect. The y position is less than negative 160. What should happen? We should change our score, change our missed points. So we're gonna go to variables again, and we're gonna grab change missed by 1. So change is your second orange block of code. Change missed by 1. Awesome. And we're just going to give it a little bit of a delay. So if we don't give a delay and we miss the fruit, okay. It's not finding our missed value. That's weird. Oh, okay, let's make it negative 1. Nope, let's make it positive 1. That didn't work. If your y position is less than negative 160, then we have to change our score. And let's try putting a little delay. That sometimes makes things more clear. Wait 0.3 seconds. What happens? Nope. Y position is less than negative 160. Change score by negative 5. Wait 0.3 of a second. That's odd. Okay, well, we can work on that part a little bit later because this should work. But what we can do instead is that we could just take our score value and just change that by negative 1. And that is just going to change our score. So it's going to make it, we have 1, but now we have 3. It's not noticing it. Okay, so this part of the code, we can actually just block it out, and we'll come back to it later. So don't delete it. Just kind of put it to the side. And actually, you could leave it inside the loop too, but we're just going to clarify our thinking and see what works, what doesn't work. Now, in our final if statement here, right? If something, let's grab an operator. And let's say if the score, go to variables, if score is a negative number like 0, then stop the game. Stop all, it's in events, or no, it's in control, and it's the 4th last code. Now our score value can't be negative right now because I kind of took out the whole negative feature here because it wasn't sensing it. But let's see. We're at 3, and if I don't touch it, let me add this code again. Okay, let's watch our y values. Maybe it's never going below 150. Let's change, or 160. So let's try negative 120. Negative 120 is right there. Aha! It slowed down. We got -1, and it's just frozen here. So it is working. Yay! So change score by -1. Wait 0.3 seconds. But it should just continue falling after that. You can't swipe it. Oh, it's because we're at -1 already. Okay. So let's get some good points. Let's swipe some things. We got 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now we're gonna let it fall. It really slows down. And then our score is at that. So that's the little problem, right? Like it's going to change the score, it's gonna wait 0.3 seconds, it's gonna change the score, it's gonna wait a couple seconds. So that's happening really incrementally, and every single time it's changing it by more than 1 actually. So that's why we're gonna change that to missed. So change missed by 1. Maybe if we get rid of the delay, what would happen? All right, missed became 8. So let's make it 0.1. So this point over here is too early to sense it because then the person can still swipe on it, especially when it's slowing down. So let's make it slower. Let's make it negative 150. Aha. So that's like as soon as it touches it. And missed is at. So we've only had 3 fruits fall so far, but it counted 6 missed points. So let's try that again. If we have 1 fruit fall, it counts 2 missed points. And then 4, and then 6. You can tell it's changing by 2. If we really want to be meticulous, we could take our miss value and subtract it by 2. So we could say set miss 2 or set miss 2. Whatever the missed value is minus 2. So in operators, I got the minus symbol. In variables, I got missed, and then I got set miss to 0. We're going to put this inside this, and we're going to place this inside our if statement. Let's try that. Now it's going to negative numbers. We have set missed to 0. Change missed by 1. Okay, I got a score of 2, and I got a missed of -2. Okay, the other thing we could try, so I got rid of those pieces of code. We can make it 0.01. Try that. Okay, it's still saying missed 2. It's okay. So we can just double our system here. We can say that if missed is equal to 6, so if score is less than 0, or we can grab another if statement, and we can say if with an operator missed is equal to 6. And sometimes missed might become 8 and it'll be too late, so you have to be wary of that. So if missed is equal to 6, then again, stop the game. All right, let's see what happens. You got 1 score, 2 missed, 4 missed, and let it drop, 6. And the game stopped. Beautiful. Beauty. So this is working really nicely. Now what we have to do is create all our other fruits and all their other split costumes. Um, and then our game will look kind of wholesome. Um, so let's grab some more fruits because, like, no one plays the fruit game with just one fruit. So I'm going to click on choose a sprite and we're going to click on food. And like previously mentioned, we got apples and bananas. Now, I don't know, maybe you want to do food ninja. So you could actually do like cake and cheese puffs. I'm just going to stick with the original. I got an apple here. I think my apple's a little big. So I'm going to make it a 95. Just looks bigger than my watermelon. So I'm going to make it an 85. Perfect. So for the apple, it doesn't have any code, right? But remember I told you we could copy the code. So that's the cool part. Let's click on costume for a second. And what we're going to do is we're just going to copy. I clicked on copy right here, right? And then we're going to click on the paint button and we're going to click paste. Bam, another apple. What I want to do is I want to cut this apple. I want to make a little incision in it, like separate it. So what we can do for that, if I click on this dotted thing, sometimes, oh no, that's not what I wanted. Sometimes you're able to create your own shapes. Okay, now let's try something else. Let's try copying half the fruit. Nope. Let's try reshaping it. So if we reshape something and make it look like half a fruit, can bring that inside and make it pointed. Oh, there's another red piece there. I didn't know that. Okay, and we can bring that in. And then, actually, we can make it more towards the halfway point. And then bring both of, oh, no. Bring that towards the halfway point. And I'm basically just trying to make it look like a cut shape, a cut apple. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to drag all of it, Control C, Control V it, and hit, flip horizontally. So now if I had 2 of these together, they would have, should have made a apple. So now we have to readjust some of these things. I can grab this black piece. Oh no, not that one. Have this black piece, and we could, no, not from there. We could readjust it inward, click on pointed. And we could grab this red piece and let it, oh no, not that. The red piece and let it stick out. No, not that one. Yeah, this is the black piece. So we have the black layer, then we have the red, oh no, then we have the red layer. There. So I'm just trying to bring the red piece out and make it more curvy. Okay, a little bit of a weird looking shape, I know. But, I mean, it's close enough, ain't it? So yeah, you can be as articulate and as exact as you want. I'm just going to give this a little bit of an angle. And call it a day. Now there's a couple different changes we have to do. Just make sure that you have selected the whole shape and attach the plus sign to the compass. That makes a whole world of a difference. So we have apple, and then we have costume 1 that looks sort of like a really butchered apple. I'm gonna click on code. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab this watermelon and we're gonna copy this entire code into the apple code because we don't want to write it all over again. So we're going to click on the code, right? You're going to drag it, and you're actually going to take it across from the screen over my Apple Sprite, and my Apple Sprite is going to do a little boogie dance. Right? It's going to shake a little. And when it does shake, that's how you know you've copied it. Just make sure you have 1 copy and not 2. Sometimes if you have other code on it, you have to kind of like piece it apart so you can see it. Okay, so at this point, a lot of the stuff is the same as the watermelon, but some things have to be different, right? Like I don't want my apple to change into a watermelon. So I'm going to click on costume 1. I want to make sure that, maybe they don't start at the same X position. If we're able to, we could actually make it kind of, sort of random. Maybe we could tell it like go to X position greater than 50. What would that actually look like? I have 2 fruits, and this is so hard to play. So it goes down, and it's okay. And I reached missed is equal to 6. So yeah, if you want to, you can put that in, but if it just overcomplicates things for you, no need. We can just keep it at 14, or you can make it like 144. Score is 0, missed is 0. Go to random position. We make sure we've changed our costume. The whoosh can stay the same unless you want to make it a different sound. Next costume, and everything else is the same. Perfect. So let's just take a look. Watermelon, apple, watermelon. Okay. So this is most and all of the code, and I even showed you how to manipulate it. All you got to do now is make sure that you do it for all the other fruits. So there's like 1 more fruit in this game, which is the banana. So I'm going to grab a banana. Wait, was there another one? There was a watermelon, orange, banana. I'll just do banana. Okay. Banana here, a little bit big than I expected, so we get 85. Perfect. And we're going to go to our costumes again for the banana. And we're going to click copy. All right, copies right there. And we're going to click onto the pink costume button and click paste. Another banana. Perfect. When we're what am I saying? When we're slicing this, I wonder what the ungroup button does. Or the group button. No clue. Okay. Let's just grab a couple bananas. And that part. And we're just going to Control C. Or Control X them, actually. Right? And then we're going to put them Control V. In another spot. And just going to fill that. And make sure you actually bring that to the front. There you go. So what I'm doing is I'm separating my bananas and trying to reorganize them in a way that makes it look like they were cut. Sort of. So I'll just put them at an angle and do that. So they'll start off whole, clumped together, and then they'll branch apart a little. All right, there's no code in the banana, I forgot. So we're gonna click on code, and we're gonna redo what we just did with our watermelon code. I'm gonna grab the whole code, we're gonna take it over, hover it over banana, banana does a boogie dance, banana's got the code. Awesome. Really important change is that we don't want the watermelon, we want costume 1. Because remember our bananas, banana 1. Banana. Okay, good. So now we click green flag. Okay. Banana's a little bit like, they're all weird, but banana's the weirdest. Okay, and we're at missed is 0, and now let's say I missed all 3 fruits. Game over. Awesome. One last final thing I want to add here, folks, is a backdrop. So you're going to click on choose a backdrop, and you're going to make sure that you pick something that you like. I'm going to pick a wall. I should be able to see a wall behind me. Awesome. Now remember we talked about excuse me. No, it's still there. Okay. Remember we talked about one second. Okay, remember we talked about transparency. So transparency is basically the level of like you know what transparent means, right? But like if I want to make it become more like filled in kind of thing, you can do so, and you can just set it to that in the very beginning. Again, the stage doesn't have any code. I clicked on video sensing. You could actually change your video transparency at the beginning. So if I show you what 50 means, 50 is what we're at right now. I make it 100, I'm no longer there, right? And it's still cutting stuff. So it's completely transparent, which means you can play without seeing yourself if you're super conscious, but you could also make it really, really obvious that you're there. You could set transparency to 1 or not because we have a backdrop, so you can't actually see it anymore. So we can set it to 85. What would 85 do? Look like that. I look like a ghost. Great. But 50 is kind of like a good place to be. Just click on that. Yep. But actually, I think I'm going to go back to 35 or 45 just because I like that the fruits are more focused than myself. Oh, wait, was that 85? Yeah, sorry. So the higher the number, the more you're not visible, right? And we can set that at the very, very top. That's the transparency. So we talked about transparency, we talked about video motion, we talked about video motion on a specific sprite. All these things come into play, and you can repeat this on as many fruits, musical notes as you like. And yeah, so that is the complete picture, and I hope you guys enjoyed playing and making this code with me. Oh, there was one final thing we forgot. We can do that really quickly, and that is creating a timer. Click on variables, click on make a variable, call it timer. I bet most of you guys probably already decided to start that without me even mentioning it. A lot of people do. We're just gonna set timer to like 60. If you want to give 30, 60 seconds, totally up to you. And typically what happens is that your timer has to move based off of what's in the backdrop so that it's not delaying any of the other things. So we're actually not going to put set timer to 60 in this code. What we're going to do is we're going to click on stage. We're going to click on the events button when green flag clicked. Then we're going to go to variables and set timer to whatever the time is that you want to put it on, 60, 30 seconds. And then it's going to continuously change our number, right? So we can put a forever loop underneath it and literally wait 1 second and then change the variable value, right? So we can go to variables and change not miss, but timer by -1. Eventually, it's going to reach, it's going to go 60, then it's going to go 59, 58, 57, all the way down to 3210, -1. We don't want to go in the negative numbers. So we're going to click on Control, grab an if loop, put it in there, go to Operators, and we're going to grab a less than symbol. All right, so we're going to compare our timer to less than 0. So we're going to go to Variables. If our timer is less than 0, then something should happen, which is that the game should end. So there's a lot of ways in this game for the game to end. The timer, the score, the missed, all that stuff. So now you have all 3 features working. And if you don't want to play the game for 60 seconds, you can make it 30. Totally up to you. And that is the full view, 100% of our Fruit Ninja game. Hope you guys enjoyed making it with us, and we hope to see you guys in our next LWM session next Sunday.